Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jan Bishio and you're watching Jan of Kaduna because I'm from Kaduna State and I live in Kaduna State, Nigeria. So today's video I'm going to be talking about expectations and reality of a northerner moving to southern Nigeria. So Nigeria is basically the amalgamation, the joining of two protectorates, and that is the southern and the northern protectorate. I don't know why my light is doing like this. The southern and the northern protectorate. So they were amalgamated, that is, they were marriage by force. They were married by force by Lord Lugard in the year 1914, and that's what the country Nigeria came about to be. That was the creation of Nigeria. And so because of that, people that come from the northern part, they are part of the northern protectorate, and people that came from the southern part, they are part of southern protectorate. We were joined together, and so we have more geopolitical zones, but basically we have northern and southern Nigeria. I come from northwest Nigeria, and I've lived in northwest Nigeria for the most part of my life, almost like my entire life. But I was opportuned to travel to the southern part of Nigeria, and before traveling to the southern part of Nigeria, of course, I had expectations, but I also met with some real realities, and today I'm going to be talking about them. So the first time I traveled to the southern part of Nigeria, I was about 8 years old, and I and my siblings were going to spend the holidays with my dad and my uncle and his family in Lagos State, that's southwest Nigeria. Before then, we always had these expectations of what Lagos was going to be. Lagos is for people like us, because I came from lower middle class to like middle class family. So for people, Lagos was like Jan to some people. How Jan was going to Jan for holidays was how going to Lagos for holidays was for us, and it was summer, long-term break. Before going to Lagos, Lagos was always in the movies. We always say Lagos, and we're excited to go to Lagos. But the first culture shock I observed or I witnessed while we were traveling, because we went by road, and the first culture shock for me was when we got when we started getting to the southwest, because we traveled on a Sunday, and I saw a group of people in white. We were just passing groups of people in white, like head to toe white, and they were walking barefooted. And I was surprised because it was hot. The sun was scorching hot. There was a point we stopped for some passengers to ease themselves, and I was just seeing these groups of people in white, men, women, children, walking about barefooted in white. And I asked my father, who are these people? And my father was like, nah, they're just coming from church. They went to church. I was like, are they okay? They're walking barefooted. And he said, yes, they were the white garment people, and they were going to church, or they were coming back from church. And it was very strange to me, because at that time, we were living in Kano State, and Kano is a predominantly Muslim state, and there were churches, but I have known about white garment churches, but I'd never seen them like in their full elements, walking barefooted. I was surprised. I was shocked. When we got to Lagos, the second culture shock for me was seeing women in the market selling meat. In the north, at that time, in northern Nigeria, that was like early 2000s, I had never seen a woman sell meat. In Kano State, I had never seen a woman sell meat. And here was seeing women like with axes, cutlass, they were cutting the bone, breaking the bone, selling meat. I was like, no, this is not right. Women usually are at home, or even when you go to the market, they sell things like baby stuffs, clothing. They don't do dirty work like selling meat. And I was surprised that in my 8-year-old mind, I felt these people are doing things wrong, because this was not the norm I was used to. So for me, like, the women are doing things wrong here. The next time I traveled to the south was when I was going to university. I schooled in the southern part of Nigeria, south and southeast. So by then I had more informed knowledge, but at the same time there were still some misconceptions and there were still some things that was being told about the south. The fact that there were cultists. And Nollywood movies too did not help, because they always depicted like there were always people ready to kill you for money. Ritualists were just going up and down, just catch anybody and kill. They were always kidnapping people. And also what we heard from the media, like bad things happened in the south. Bad things also happened in the north. But at that time, the north was still relatively more peaceful than it is now. So at that time, it's like all the bad things happened in the south. That's why they're killing people anyhow. They're doing bank robberies, and in my mind I felt like if you're just walking, someone would just steal something. Like there were thieves everywhere. That was my notion of the south before going to the south. And then when we got to the south, I also knew that they were going to be very enterprising people, because we had Igbo men, we had people from the south and the north, and we saw how enterprising they were. So I knew they were very enterprising people. But at the same time, I also had this notion. People talked about how they also could do anything for money. They could do anything, even as much as sell their own mothers for money. And I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. The only reason my mom even allowed me to go to that school was the fact that it was a faith-based university, it was a private university, and the fact that we're all going to be locked in. So we're not going to have the normal university life as in other secular universities or government-owned universities. So she knew I was pretty much safe in that place. So when we got to, we also traveled by road to my school, and when we were going, the first, I enjoyed how I was seeing like different aspects of cultures, like different, how would I call it? Like I was seeing different cultures as we were going by road, how we were living the north, where we're still seeing a lot of women in hijab, we're seeing more of men by roadside than women, and then we were getting to Kogi, we started seeing more of women, and we got to the southeast, and we saw a lot of women. Women were the ones selling things by the roadside mostly than men, and it was the opposite of what I had known in the north. And I was saying things like snails being sold by the roadside, being sold to passengers, being sold to travelers during their journeys, and I was shook. Like I'd never seen cooked snail in my life, and here I was seeing it advertised to me by my window. I was like, this people, something's wrong with them. It was interesting. And then when we got to my school, we first stayed in the guest house because we got in late. We stayed in the guest house before we were to continue the business the next day. And I asked for rice because that's what I eat if I'm going to somewhere I don't know for the first time. Rice is my safest bet of what to eat. And they said they didn't have jollof rice, they didn't have fried rice, and they just had rice, but not with stew, with opaku. I was like, what's opaku? And they said it was a palm oil stew. I was like, okay. They brought it, the people that I think they just didn't make it well, because I did not enjoy it at all. And here I was now beginning to enter into the world that I was not going to see tomatoes as much as I saw it in the north. And that plagued me like throughout my stay in the south. I loved stew, but I couldn't eat stew as how I wanted to eat it, because tomatoes was more expensive in the south than it was in the north. So stew was almost a luxury. I only ate stew once in a blue moon when I went to the market. And sometimes you don't even make as much as you want because it's more expensive. So you have to substitute with tin tomatoes. That was like a sacrilege for me. I'd never eaten tin tomato stew. I didn't even know how it tasted till I went to the south. So a lot of your food, you have to drop it back home when you're going to the south because you're going to meet with a new reality. me personally, in my home, we ate salads almost every week. We always had carrots, greens. We always had carrots, green peas, cabbages in our food. And here it was like a ceremonious thing. You don't eat it always because it's more expensive. And for a student, that was a luxury. It was a luxury for you to be eating cabbage and carrots every day in your food. It was a big luxury for a student lifestyle. So for sure, food was not going to be the way as I had seen it. Meat was not going to be the way I had seen it. Instead, I ate more fish. Seafood is going to be your new order of the day. Depending on which part of the south you're moving to, seafood is going to be your new order of the day. You have to learn how to eat a lot of fish, a lot of stockfish, a lot of crayfish, a lot of fish. Compared to where you had meat, cows were everywhere in the north, so you had a lot of meat. Meat was way cheaper than you find it in the south. And if you're for a student lifestyle, you want to do what is according to your pocket. Now, about the fact about security, because they always told me it was not very secure, this and that. Yes, I think greatly the fact that I was in a sheltered environment helped greatly, as I did not see as much violence. But the few times I had visited friends in public schools in the south, security is a big thing. I was a time just after my uni, I think I went for clearance, so I stayed at my friend's place in Owerri, and we were about to retire for the day, and we heard gunshots, like actual gunshots. And my friend was like, just off the light and lie down. I was like, eh? They're like, just off the light and lie down. Security is a thing, something that we don't usually see, if not now that things have gotten worse in the north. But at that time, that was something that was unheard of, that students would just be in school and people are just shooting sporadically and it's just like normal, and you're hearing scuffles and like they just put off the light and lie down. Security is kind of a thing, and even now with heightened tensions in everywhere in Nigeria, security is still a thing because everywhere is just unsafe. But other than that, they were basically welcoming to an extent, not as welcoming as your northern people, as your fellow northerners, but they're welcoming to an extent, and you're challenged. To me, everything in the south, it was a challenge. I was being challenged because I saw women doing better for themselves. I saw women achieving to greater strides. I saw women having their own voices, and it was very fascinating and like very encouraging. Like, okay, so as a woman, I can attain to greater things just if I want to. Yes, patriarchy rules everywhere in the world, but like in the southern part of Nigeria, women have bigger voices than they do in the northern part. I only saw women doing a lot of things as compared to even presently, if I apply for things like women-led competitions or women-centered empowerment schemes and the rest, you see more of southern women than northern women, and it's still a big challenge for us. There's a big gap that we have to fill for us as northern women. So I saw a lot of women doing great big things, and it was like encouraging that I too could do things. And after my university, I knew that I'd seen women do great things, so I too can aspire to do great things despite where I come from or despite where I live in Nigeria. So basically, it was interesting to be there. I met a new set of people, new cultures, and they're not all evils in the south. They're especially southeast, south. They're not all evils. You have different tribes, you have different cultures. I mean, like even the Igbos, they have different types, and it was fascinating. Food, I loved the new, especially their soups. Ofin sala, ofaku. I later got it correct. Ofaku, afang, apankuko. Edukain come from Calabar woman's hands. Their foods are so rich, so beautiful. Like their food are so beautiful. There's variety. There are varieties of food and soups, and it's so very beautiful. Um, their culture is also beautiful, and I love that they're very, very, very enterprising. About the thing that they can do anything for money, maybe, maybe not, but they are just very hardworking people. They are very hardworking people. So if you're moving to the southern part of Nigeria for the first time as a northerner that has only known the north all their lives, just open your mind to positivity, and positive things are surely going to find you. I didn't have a lot of negative stories from the south. Also the few negative things, okay, and again about the stereotype, I was stereotyped a lot because I was from the north. Despite the fact that I was a Catholic, I was a Christian, I was basically them, but the fact that I was not from their place, I was not a northerner, I still had that stereotype attached. I still had that aboki stereotype attached to me. So at times, because I was like the peak of Boko Haram, at times I was being blamed. An attack will happen in the north, and I'm with you guys in the south, in school with you guys in the south. It's like, aboki, your people have started again. Like, aboki, your people have started again. It usually used to be very heartbreaking. Yes, these people are not my people. Anybody that's killing for the fun of it is not my people. They are not my people, and it usually used to be very thought-provoking, and we still have to change the stereotype every day. At the point, my nickname for the longest time when I was in school was Apoki, and it was, for most times, it was not for the good Apoki, that like the real meaning of Apoki that it was for a derogatory term like Apoki, like I was beneath them to a level, to a certain extent, and I didn't like it. But other than that, I had a swift, beautiful stay there, and you guys should also be open to exploring.